Welcome to the Tech Insider, where we talk to the people who can give you the insights and trends that matter to you in your business. I'm Christine Grail with Leica Geosystems. We have a number of reality capture experts at Leica Geosystems, but I have a very short list of people that I could go to with any reality capture question that I have. And Mike Harvey is at the top of that list. Mike, welcome to the program today.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So, Mike, you've been at Leica Geosystems for quite some time. What is your role right now?
I have been here for 20 years now, and my current role is I am the Senior Product Manager for the Reality Capture Division here in North America.
Okay, so what does that entail, really?
So it entails a lot, but both the support and training organizations for reality capture report into me. So more of the technical side of the overall business. But on top of that, it also means that monitoring and guiding the development of new product, whether it be software or hardware, for the future generations. So it's also gathering a lot of information from customers and making sure that we are building the things that the customer and the market needs, so that our customer base can become more successful than they are today.
Well, you've worked very closely with customers over the last 20 years. You've seen a lot of probably very unusual applications for reality capture. Is there one that stands out to you as being maybe the most unique?
I think, I mean, the most unique one that I'm always drawn to was back when we were assisting Cyrax, and that was, of course, the group that the grandfather of laser scanning for Leica went to, was when we were scanning the whole Mount Rushmore project. So I thought that was always the cool thing of having those types of historical monuments have in preservation, those types of things. Through the years of scanning and as long as I've been doing it, I've always said that laser scanning is never a linear type of approach to scanning anything. It is more of an approach of think outside the box. So yes, you're going to capture the thing that you wanted, but as you continue to scan, you'll start to understand that there's a lot more to it that you can do. So start to use your imagination. So we've done everything from scanning, as I said, historical preservation sites, everything from bringing it into movie and entertainment, because I have done scanning for some productions as well as video games, and talking to those types of customers. And then, of course, once we got into public safety several years ago, and getting that type of aid to solve crimes, and hopefully bring a little more justice into the world too. So that's some interesting things. So it's not only just surveying and building construction and doing as-built. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. So like I said, it's really an outside the box type of technology that you can use to really freeze the scene in time, if you will, just stick it in your computer.
Well, it really sounds like every application is unique. Everything is unexpected, and you really just have to see where you can apply the technology. And it's
Yeah.
always an adventure, right? I love the video games and just all the different applications that are coming along now. I think
Uh,
when I met you, probably about 16 years ago, like I had the C10, that giant, heavy ScanStation C10. And at that time, it was the top of the line laser scanner.
was.
Of course, there have been a lot of developments since then. What do you think has been the most impactful development in laser scanning since you've been involved in laser
Yeah,
scanning?
that's a great question. So, and I think that there's a couple of things that really revolutionized reality capture as a whole, right? Now you talk about the C10, but I'm going to go back even further than that. One of the first devices, scanning devices that I was using was the Cyrax 2500, which was this giant silver box. Of course, I was exposed and got data from the original Cyrax 2400, which is even bigger. But just using those instruments and trying to make money with it was rather difficult. I think the first thing that came about in the industry that really revolutionized things was a lot of the software applications that are surrounded cloud to cloud registration. So having these having multiple large scans that you can actually piece together without the needs of targets, because essentially now reality becomes your entire target. So being able to match those types of things together really starts to speed up a lot of those processes. Now, moving forward, of course, through time, cloud to cloud registration has become a norm. But then there's also technologies that augment those processes, like the Viz technology that came out with the RTC. So now that you're adding in these IMU as well as visual type SLAM algorithms to help the users track from scan to scan. So, and then augmenting it with a tablet, so you can actually see each scan as they come into place and where you're going, and having these types of tracking systems throughout. So I think it's the cloud to cloud was the first. The second is, of course, the Viz, and coming into the realm of helping that process. Now I think we're probably on the cusp of having a lot of other things happening on the scanner out in the field as well. And I think that's where probably in the future where a lot of the AI type of capabilities is really going to come into play.
We've gone from the situation where a scanning technician at one point really almost had to be a surveyor with a significant amount of experience using data and working with data. And now just about anybody can go out with a laser scanner. You push a button, you pull it into the software does most of the work for you, and you end up with this beautiful deliverable. It must be amazing for you to see how those developments have taken place.
For sure.
But at the same time, even though it's easier, there are still challenges. What do you think the biggest challenges are right now for those who are involved in the day-to-day work of reality capture?
I think the challenge is and you're right that the devices have become so simple to use, because many of them are just single button push devices, and then out comes a scan and you get this thing. I think a lot of it is understanding how things do come together and having a little bit of that knowledge of survey knowledge, if you will, of how things really go together. And then, of course, the software does make it a lot easier to do certain things. The challenge is I think, is really training and getting somebody to maximize the overall workflow, because I believe the industry as a whole is really starting to change, going from I have this fantastic device that gives me this wonderful point cloud now, to more of it's more of a systematic approach where the device is part of a whole system that includes software, tablet, those types of things. So now it's a much more connected type of workflow. So the challenge that many users have is, what is the most efficient workflow to get from point A to point B, I think.
Well, you've worked with so many different people. You've helped them through so many different challenges. You've probably done a lot. I mean, a lot of your career has been educating people on reality capture, on the potential of reality capture. What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding that most people have right now about reality capture?
Reality capture, that's another great question. Back in the day, I mean, reality capture was really referenced to, I think it goes back to the old Jeff Jacobs days, our old friend and colleague from then. And when he coined the term HDS, right, of using the whole high definition surveying terminology. And that really became part of, or became reality capture, if you will, right? And it was a pretty common name amongst those professionals then. And of course, then it really was more based around tripod-based scanning systems. Now, I think reality capture has also evolved so much into different sensor types. So not only do you have your traditional tripod scanning systems that are in the market, you also have mobile mapping systems that are either on a vehicle or on a gator or a golf cart or anything like that. You have handheld devices now. You have UAVs. You have photogrammetry that can be classified as reality capture. So I think that in looking at the industry as a whole, that reality capture, that at least the term of it, has really started to morph from being a product centralized thing more to a process centralized thing. Because like BIM, it's not really a product, it's more of a process. Reality capture is now really a process, because there's so many different sensors that you can use to get to a certain deliverable.
I love how you describe that as reality capture being a process, and that really, I think, for the firms that have exceeded and really excelled at reality capture, it's because of that secret sauce, because they've
Mhm.
put that process in place. They have
Yep,
the expertise in place. Again, just because the technology is easy to use doesn't mean you don't need the skill to be able to
exactly.
do it, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I love that description of it being a
Mhm.
process. That makes a lot of sense. At the same time, now we have all these different instruments. Leica has come out with an instrument, a new scanner every 12 months, 18 months, every 2 years, right? And so there's a lot to choose from. And then there are all these other technologies as well. And there isn't really a lot of standards in place. There's really no standardization to help
Mhm.
users choose from all these different instruments.
Mhm.
It's kind of a wild west, right?
True. Yep.
And so, what is the
I think there's,
impact of that on the industry?
yeah, and you're right. I think that the user could probably get quite confused quite easily. I think that many people will just go ahead and start to compare spec sheets, from one to one. But as I said earlier, the challenge is that they're overlooking the whole system approach rather than just being hardware. And the other thing is that with, I'm going to say, lack of standards, that every manufacturer, including us, we can define certain things of our devices to do certain aspects. I think when you really start to peel back all the layers off the onion, and that there is no one unit that does everything perfectly. All right. There might be a few on the market that are the jack of all trades, but master of none type of thing. But being the fact that there are so many different devices that are in the market, and each excels in a certain area to provide a certain result. And I think some of the challenges there is really distinguishing between those two things, in understanding what you're going to get with a certain instrument. And I think that's some of the challenges that might be in the market today. For example, that I would probably never go scan Mount Rushmore with a BLK, because just the range just isn't there. But I know that, but some people may not understand that, or say, "Oh, why not? Couldn't you do it?" Well, you could. It just might take you a while. It's just the wrong instrument. So it's really choosing the right instrument for the right job. And I think that, Leica being, we're well aware of some of these challenges. And I think there's a lot of the focus that we've had is more so on the software side and less on the hardware side, because now we have so many devices that excel at so many specialized things. The challenge is you would not want to have multiple software workflows to get to an end deliverable. So therefore, we have lots of hardwares, and they're all easy to use, but a single software solution that accepts all of them, so that you can get to, you have one software workflow that you need to learn, regardless of what hardware device you're going to be using.
So for the user, it sounds like it's really about comparing not spec sheets for hardware, but
Yep.
but stepping back and taking a look at that overall workflow. What does that workflow look like? How easy is it to add new scanners as they come along? How
Exactly.
flexible is that workflow as you need to increase your capacity or decrease your capacity, right? Are there any other what else can end users do to help kind of cut through
Well,
all the
also,
noise that's out there?
yeah, I think as I said, it really depends on what the end deliverable is or what you're trying to do. Let's say that, if I was to go out and do some reality capture, if you will, of, let's say, a plant and process or an oil and gas place. I probably wouldn't spend the time and scan the entire facility in a very high end manner where I could design off of everything, right? Because that's going to take a lot of time and it's going to take a lot of care and a lot of precision to do those things. Now, could you do it? Absolutely. I think more of our customers are looking to scan those types of areas more in the asset management type of format. And then, so now they know exactly what they have, where they have it, and how to account for certain things. And then when the time comes around that they do need to design or have much higher grade things, then they will go out with a different instrument and scan a specific area instead of having to do the whole thing. And then because of everything works in the same software, you can kind of plug and play, almost do the shell game, if you will, with some of these scans into the larger model, if you will. So now it becomes a real, as we said before, reality capture being a process, it becomes a living, breathing thing, regardless of what senses that you have of capturing that data.
So, what do you think it is that Leica brings to the table when it comes to, obviously, we have the workflows in place, we
Mhm.
have that the heavyweight software that people rely on to achieve those high quality deliverables. We have the expertise. What is that stands out in your mind as being the reason why most professionals and most people who want to make sure that they're doing quality work, they choose Leica?
I think you said it right there. Is we have the expertise, so we take a lot of care of hiring people from the markets, because not a construction person obviously is not going to speak the same language as a police person would, or somebody on a movie set would speak. So we actually hire people from those industries, and we take great care of getting that type of knowledge in there to help these customers basically do the thing that they're supposed to do, and in a fashion that they will understand it. The key to any type of relationship, whether it be a business relationship or even a marriage, is through communication. But communication is really speaking in a language that the other person hears it, not so much the words that are coming out of someone's mouth. It's just that they understand the actual concept, or whether they're able to hear it in their own way. And having those expertise in there is important. I think that probably leans its way to the way that our team also does training too. So we have many different training groups that are focused on certain customer types. So I would probably be hesitant to send my experts in the public safety area to a surveyor, because they're not going to be speaking the same language nor attacking a scene in the same manner. They'd be very different.
Well, and you mentioned training, and something that you've been very involved with, possibly even you spearheaded the development of, was HDS University, which is
Mm-hmm.
now called LGS University because we've broadened the scope and we're focusing on more than just that HDS laser scanning type of knowledge. Tell me where LGS University is right now. I know it's coming up this year, 2024, in October, but tell me
Yep.
what kinds of things people can expect to find at LGS University.
So yeah, LGS University has certainly evolved over the years. I am also quite happy to say that we are sold out. So we are going to have our largest one to date. We are expecting about 120 people to come to us for training. A far cry from the first one several years ago, where I think we had 30 people in our Norcross, Georgia office. But some of the things that and one of the main reasons why we actually changed it from HGS University to LGS, is we wanted to really encompass more of the full workflow that a customer is going to have through the overall reality capture journey, right? Because as I said, that scanners don't do everything. You still need to have total stations sometimes. You still need to have GPS sometimes. You still need to have these other types of tools to get a full job done in some of these large scale things. So some of the classes that you could expect to see this year is, of course, we will have our full suite of software and hardware for the reality capture side. But we're also going to be talking about GPS. We'll be talking about some of our total station workflows in Captivate. We'll be talking about some classes of converting imagery into a point cloud in our Infinity software. We will also talk about some of our mobile mapping solutions and some of those applications of where they shine in the market as well. So I believe this year we have just under 70 classes in total that will be running over the course of 3 days. So we have a huge amount of classes that a customer can choose from to sharpen his or her skills.
That is amazing. Almost 70 classes, all sold out already.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's just a ton of demand, and I would imagine that you're already thinking ahead to, okay, what do we do next time? How many
exactly.
more of these can we do? And LGS University is in person. Obviously, there
Correct.
are training opportunities available that are remote as well.
Yep. So we have, on top of LGSU and HGSU, I mean, in part of our group, we have this whole learning journey, if you will, that we coined the term the SMART plan. So the SMART plan for training is we can, part of it is, and the idea is it's a subscription type of thing where a customer can start heavy, and then over the years they can start to cut back on different lower levels. Part of this in all levels is the ongoing virtual classroom and access to pre-recorded materials that we have compiled over the years. Our team, we manage this website. It's called the Smart Plan website, and it is essentially our library of materials that we have compiled over the last 12 years. And there is an enormous amount of information up there. So again, the idea is for if a new customer was to come in, that we can sell them a Smart Plan version that includes some on-site training, so we can give them some in-person care and best instruction of how to use the instrumentations the best way. And then from there, they can go into some virtual classes to learn about other things. So, whether it be classes on 3DR or going deeper into CloudWorks or deeper into tips and tricks type of thing. Obviously, there is also a lot of focus nowadays on our cloud service, which is the Reality Cloud Studio, and getting data into that and having that be an integral part of your workflow. So there's a lot of different technologies that are out there that are available on there. The other reason why it wanted to be a subscription type of journey is that there is always people coming and going in companies. So there needs to be some way to these companies to have access to be able to train these people easily instead of us having to come back out and retrain it, so that they will always have these all these libraries or things that are available at their fingertips for their use.
Very cool. I need to go check that out because I haven't been on HGSU Smart Plan for a while, and it sounds like you guys have been adding a lot of really interesting things. And now, if someone is interested in a type of training that they can't find either at HGS University, LGS University in person, or on the Smart Plan, how can they request something new, something different that they need?
Yeah. They can either reach out to myself or they can reach out to Karen Hughes, who is my training manager, and she is our rock star with that. And we can customize something for you, because even in part of the virtual classroom regimen that we actually have reserved each month the topic of the month, if you will. So if there's something that is just outside the box that we just need to talk about, we can do that. There's also opportunities to actually have a one-on-one virtual classroom with one of the trainers for just a couple of hours and just go over through your problem. And we can do those things as well. So there's always a way to get the training and the assistance to you, that as long as there's internet, as long as there's everything else, we can make it happen.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm sure that anyone who's trying to expand their knowledge of reality capture is going to be very interested in hearing all those opportunities that are available to them. With all the development that you've been involved with, everything you've seen, what are you most excited about as you look to the future?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think that looking to the future, the evolution of reality capture has been so rapid. I would say that probably it has evolved somewhere in the vicinity of anywhere from 3 to 4 times quicker than GPS has over the years. That of course, scanners are becoming faster. We're already up to 2 million points per second, and then you start to wonder of what's next. Are you going to go to 3 million points per second, 4 million points a second? And at that point, as far as a time on station, you're really starting to split hairs. It's like, okay, we're going to save 5 seconds. Maybe that's a thing, maybe that's not. I think where a lot of the things that will be happening in the future is focused around a lot of this AI machine learning, because scanning is becoming so quick. And with the same technologies that we're now employing and looking in development of having these more instantaneous recognition of things, whether it be classification of point clouds or if it's going to be recognizing different aspects of the data set that you can start putting in predetermined models into those things. I think there's a lot of excitement around that fashion there. So really to help customers, capture something quickly and then come up with a deliverable very quickly, whether it be a full model or something else. Because there is certainly a fad right now that a lot of the traditionally office-based workflows that we would do in the office, whether it be in a CAD system, whether it be in a standalone system, some of those processes are being pushed out into the field, and you need to have these AI-ish recognizable programs that are able to identify certain things out in the field for quick deliverables that you can pass off to anybody right away. Is there going to be a need for office software all the time? I think so, but I think that the human interaction will certainly start to go through different phases of going through either a semi-automatic more or going into these more fully automatic type workflows where you just kind of push a button, out pops an answer. But that also needs to be very clever, so that the user can have proper QA QC tools as well. So I think looking into the future, I think software is definitely going to be the key. I'm going to say way in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if the paradigm of the current market shifts or just actually flips on top of its head, where hardware maybe become less expensive and software will become more expensive, because that's where all the magic happens.
Where all the magic happens. That is so, it's so much fun to think about all the possibilities of what comes next, especially
Mhm.
with AI and automation. Just a fun time to be involved in reality capture.
For
So,
sure.
Mike, Harvey, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to have you on the program again soon.
Can't wait. See you soon.
Be sure to check out the description for additional resources on this topic. If you enjoyed this content, give us a like. If you'd like to see more of this content, be sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Tech Insider.